now?
Oh, it's up to you. Oh, I don't care.
Oh, hang on. There we go. We'll get rid of face cam. I'll do that for a start.
Bloody the race, was it? When did we do that race? Sunday. That was a good race.
Yeah, I was happy to finish in the end, actually.
Yeah, I'm surprised I had more pace than I did.
You're on for the win there, brother. Here we
Yeah,
go.
I just made a little mistake. Got on the concrete area where you go into the oval part and just gave a little too much willy, and it just old
That
tyres and lots of power didn't work.
that was deadly out there, that part of the track, I must admit.
Oh yeah. I beat Jason. That's all I'm worried about.
The competition is fierce.
Just gotta check my headphone settings, see if they're right for the stream.
Ready to do this, brother?
Yeah, kick her in the guts, mate.
Let's do this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching right around the world. That's right, we're back this time for round 10 of the SRL Project Cars 2 season number 3. That's right, and last week it was Sub GT taking his first win of the season in Germany, but it was Formula One Rocks who took second, making it impossible for anyone to catch him, and he is our champion of Season 3 as we head on to the penultimate round of the season. And for the first time, actually, in SRL history, we head over to Indianapolis Motor Speedway to tackle this beautiful road circuit. Long straights lead into heavy braking zones. It could be a great race for overtaking, and we may have got our champion for Season 3, but there's plenty of spots still up for grabs, as you can see the circuit there on your screen. And tonight, as ever, as always, well, we're in America, Rob, as I welcome my co-commentator, Rob Dog, back again for another week. And does that mean we're going to hear the famous Bill Clinton impression? Welcome to you.
Yeah, I think we might hear some Bill Clinton tonight, but this is a really cool little circuit. We did an IndyCar here last week. It's really sort of technical. It doesn't really look like it. There's only about something like 13 corners, but you know, you got little chicanes. For these cars, I'm pretty sure there's a little chicane just before the first sector ends, and it's a quick left, right. Very similar to what they used to have back in Formula One. Of course, the circuit's changed a lot since we had Formula One. So it's a little bit different, but still the same sort of layout. It's mostly concrete, so not a lot of grip on the circuit, and it's going to be a good one to watch. But tonight, just a quick shout out to our man, Formula One Rocks. He just impeccable season so far, being the hardest man to beat, and he's made a couple little mistakes, but he's just been the one to really get it on pole and take race wins and be ultra consistent. So series champion for season 3. He's done a great job. But yeah, we got Card Dude back this week, which is great news. Off from his holiday. I didn't know that Tasmanians actually had holidays, so that's great for him. So a little bit more competition in there. We've got Mighty Murph first one onto the circuit. He looked pretty good last week there, Trev.
Certainly did, and we're talking about special mentions. Hate to start off on a bit of a somber note, but yeah, Alan Mighty Murph, aka Mighty Murph, also known as Alan, sadly lost his nana today, so thoughts with him and his entire family. But you mentioned a little bit earlier on about the championship being over, but that battle for second, only 4 points between Cart Dude and Jason Wilkinson. We did mention Cart Dude away on holidays last week, so he's come back nice and refreshed. As we take a look at Dean going around this course, a little bit chilly here though. The ambient temperature for this qualifying session just 10 degrees. As they come around this circuit in the early stages of this 18-minute qualifying session. I beg your pardon, 15-minute qualifying session. 1,800 hours I was looking at there, Rob. But very difficult to get those tyre temps up. It might take them an extra lap or two here in qualifying.
Yeah, it's going to take an extra lap or two, and let's just recap that this majority of this circuit is concrete, so you don't get the special effects that asphalt does. Asphalt has oils in it, which kind of makes it a little bit more grippier, and so when you're racing around in concrete, it can be a little bit a bit of a hairy experience, and especially with cold conditions like this tonight, Trev, that's going to be one for the boys to get their head around, because this is a circuit that. With cars that has very high grip, but once you get into those just like that, you get into the braking zone and it's very hard to get the car stopped. Just HSV there, just having a little moment, that's alright. And we're just back on board with Car Dude here. Car Dude is probably one to beat. We've had a couple of races around here, Car Dude, I and Jason Wilkinson, and Jason's a wily old fox. Sometimes he's not the quickest on just raw pace, but he's very wily when it comes to strategy. So these two will be duking it out for that second position for up until the end of the season, which next week is Bathurst.
Yes, that's right. Penultimate round this week before we wrap things up at Bathurst. It's not going to be a championship decider like it has been in the last 2 seasons, but it always makes for a great spectacle. And at one of the most famous tracks, certainly in Australia and if not the world, next week. Speaking of famous circuits, well, this one is also pretty famous. The Brickyard, home of the Indianapolis 500. The Brickyard 400 opened in 1909, 109 years ago. So one of the oldest circuits too on the motor racing calendar. $3 million back in 1909. Geez, I wonder what that's worth today. But anyway, never mind about that. Always good to have a little bit of a history there, as Formula One Rocks making his way around the circuit now. Yet to set a super fast lap here in this qualifying session, but it's Car Dude setting the early pace early with a 1:21.8. Not far off that lap record, actually, Rob, of a 1:21.1. Which are, according to my information, around the times that Truss was getting a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, Truss is pretty mega around here. He's just unbelievably quick, and his car control is fantastic. I mean, I've driven a couple of his setups, and they're very, very pointy. Really hard to get your head around, especially when you come from a endurance background like I do. Usually with an endurance sort of setup, the car's sort of very stable. And you're trying to make those tyres last as long as you can, but with these little sprint races here, Truss just sets the car up just to go quick, and they really, really do, and he's found the perfect way to do it. So Truss is certainly one to look out for this week. I don't know how his ankle's going, because last week he was driving a bit injured with an ankle that looked like a bit of a golf ball, but certainly Truss is never one to be put down the order, and I think he'll be doing pretty good tonight. Yes,
last week we were thinking of you, Rob. It wasn't a good week for feet in general last week, but good to see everyone is fit and fighting fit and healthy back for this week. And HSV, have a look at those top 3 on the left-hand corner of your screen. Car Dude there setting that initial provisional pole position time of a 1:21.841 before V8 Man said, well, I can do a little bit better than that. And then have a look at the gap there. V8 Man now has just done a 1:21.720 against HSV's 1:21.719. Nothing in it. This is incredible stuff. You don't often see that, do you? And I think we've seen a couple of times this season, in previous seasons too, Rob, where the times have been identical further down the order. But have a look at that. First and second, nothing between them at this stage.
Yeah, nothing in between them, and this is one to look out for. I always say that Bubbles is a bit of a dark horse with his controller abilities, but he's mega quick around here. He's not one to discount either, but yeah, just a thousandth in between V8 Man and HSV. That's pretty casual, isn't it, Trev?
It certainly is, and Formula One Rock says, I'll have a piece of that too, and he goes even quicker to spoil HSV's party.
Truss,
but what about this man?
One.
And Truss goes quicker than F1 Rocks. Times tumbling here, approaching that PS4 world record we mentioned a moment ago of a 1:21.1. I reckon we might, who knows, we might see times into the 20s if this keeps up. The track temperature, like we said, a rather chilly 10 degrees, but still nonetheless, these boys hotting up the track at the moment. So 18 degrees for both quali and the race. Track temperature, that is. Soft tyres is what you want to be running, I reckon, in this qualifying session. And like we said, a pole time high, 1:20. And it can take a couple of laps. We have said that previously, that it does take a couple of laps to get those tyre pressures up and the temperatures as well. And we might see these lap times tumble at the end of the session, Rob, as the track tends to rubber up a little bit more later in the session.
Yeah, we'll tend to rubber up a little bit more. Probably not as much as we'd all liked and hoped, but I mean, as you can see here, we're on sub-GT at the moment. Last week's winner of the German round, and he's struggling to keep it on the circuit. So it's very, very hard to get a lap time out there. So the top 4 boys, top 5 boys, they're really, really pushing. And we've got Formula 1 Rocks actually beating Truss there by almost 200th of a second. So there's not much in it at the top. And Truss actually answers back. So this is looking like a bit of a fight at the moment, Trev.
Well, the first half a dozen are in the 121s, the next dozen are in the 122s, so there is a bit of a gap there between the front guys, but it's not an awful lot, is it? The first 6, and Can't Do now joins the party and goes with a 121.374 and hits straight back to the pit lane and says, I'm pretty happy with that. So have a look at that. The first 6 separated by just 0.5 of a second. And we mentioned track temperatures can warm up, so we might see those times tumble even more. As let's get this party started, says Tim Smokey 085. You betcha. Jason Wilkinson saying yoo-hoo. And Sprint Cars 6. The qualifying results from Tier 2, I'll quickly mention these, Rob. First was V-Fingers. Second was Ned. Oakley dokley. Third was Wimpinator. Fourth was John Dog. Fifth was Tooley. Sixth was Broomy. Seventh was Compact. Eighth was Aussie Bro. And ninth was Hef. As we ride inside the cockpit. That's right. Our man Rob Dog has all the angles covered as we ride in the cockpit with Truss 1984. Just 0.066 off the pole position time set by Cart Dude. And he comes across the line now to start another hot lap, you suspect. No, he's gone back to the pits. Cart Dude and Truss both in the pit lane together. V8 man and his teammate, Formula 1 Rocks, the Shake and Bake boys, currently sitting in 3rd and 4th. They have the second row of the grid locked out for this one, but they're not going to be happy with that, are they, Rob?
Yeah, they're not going to be happy with that, but it's good to see that Formula 1 Rocks and V8 Man are very, very close in terms of pace at the moment. That might change in the race, we don't know. I mean, a qualifying spec to a race spec is very, very different, but it's good to see the 2 Ford boys actually up there. I mean, they're still leading the constructors, and I actually think they might have actually won the constructors last week. If not last week, certainly probably tonight they want to seal that. So that'll be good for the Shake and Bake boys. But just looking at up here, Jason's actually gone in the second with 7,000th off of Cart Dude. So that's good pace from him. So he's not going to be a slouch tonight. He wants that second position, and we know how very, very competitive this man is.
He certainly is. They don't come much more competitive than our man Wilco. How fitting too for Wilco. He's a very smooth operator, Jason Wilkinson, and just confirming that there. But 007, how fitting that he's 007 behind Cart Dude, Mr. Smooth. But boy, I tell you what, I reckon we're going to see those high 120s, I reckon. Just 4.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Matt212 has been good enough to join us saying, let's go, Jason. And boy, he hopes he's going to be on fire tonight. That's not what I need to be seeing. We've had a few bushfires around the place here in Victoria, Rob. That's where I've been the last 3 or 4 days. But never mind about that, Matt. Great to have your company. I don't want to know what time it is in your part of the world, but still great to have you with us nonetheless for this penultimate round of this SRL season number 3. And Truss onto the start-finish straight, then just a tick over 4 minutes remaining in this session. Can he take pole position? And that looks like Formula 1 Rocks going slowly. I'm not sure what's happening there. Might be just getting out of the way for some traffic there, Rob, to let his teammate by. But V8 man still in the top 6. Look at that, the top 6. Just 2 tenths between them. How close can you get, Rob?
You can't get closer than that. It's looking very, very spicy. I'm wondering what HSV is going to do, if he's going to come out for another lap or he's going to sit there, because I don't think he's safe at all. I mean, V8 Man, Mighty Murph, and I think even Sub GT and Fubbles, they all have a pretty good crack at getting into the top 5 there. So HSV is not safe at all, and I don't think actually anybody in the top 10 is actually safe at this point. Everybody's so quick. I mean, even Andy, he's only 7 tenths off the lead there. So if he gets a good lap in, maybe a little bit of drafting down the straight, anything can happen. So that could be interesting to watch. So it's going to look, it's looking like a bit of a spicy qualifying session as we go to Jason.
Incredible. Here is Jason, currently in P2, 0.007 off of Cart Dude in pole position. Great to have everybody's company here this evening, or good morning wherever you're watching. I say it right at the start of our streams, right around the world. We're going global. Here comes Truss. Across the line he improves, but not enough to knock Jason out of P2. So he will still currently be on the second row of the grid. He did improve to a 121.421, but not good enough to knock off Jason, like I said, in P2. And here comes Cart Dude, fresh as a daisy off his holiday last week. I'm not too sure where Tasmanians go to holiday. I saw there was an undiscovered island off the coast of Tasmania, and who knows, Cart Dude may have been there. He's a superstar. We love him. We missed him last week. But, well, first and second, Cart Dude and Jace, Rob, they're both fighting for second in the championship. No love lost between these two. It's going to be interesting to see them heading down into turn one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I mean, they're both very fiery, both very clean races, although Cart Dude's using all the circuit. I just saw him going through those little S-bends before, and you could see the car was on the dirt and it was getting sideways everywhere. You can see it getting sideways around that long right-hander, so he's got a very, very pointy setup, so he's going to be probably struggling in the race here. And actually the tyres around this circuit don't tend to last long, being mostly concrete. The tyres are scuffing across the circuit, so you end up with a bit of a tyre wear. So it could be interesting to see how that plays in a strategy tonight. We've only got a 26 lap race. That's a bit of a long one, and Truss actually beats Jason just by 0.002 of a second. That's unbelievable.
Incredible stuff. Have a look at that. The first three all separated just by, what is that, Jace? My maths is terrible. 0.007 of a second between the top three, right down to Andy there in P11. Just 0.7 between the top 11. You're right, Matt. It's absolute madness. Who will conquer qualifying here at the Brickyard? And Sub GT there on the infield section, getting a little bit sideways there. These boys are on the absolute limit. That's right. Just 30 seconds remaining in this qualifying session. So if these boys get around, they might be able to start another lap here around the last corner. On to the main start-finish straight. Oh, hang on. Geez, I'll tell you what, I'm on pole position. He's not quite there yet, is he? But he comes around the last few corners. Matt's got Jason down for getting this one, but it's going to be mighty, mighty close no matter which way you look at it. And here we go. Now he's on to the start-finish straight. Sub GT currently in fourth. Can he get onto the first row of the grid? Across the line.
Oh, wow.
And he has pole position. Amazing stuff. Perfect timing there, but it's not over yet. Cart Dude snuck through, Rob, and he might be on another hot lap to finish.
Formula 1 Rocks has gone to the top by a hundredth of a second, so a tenth, sorry, so he's actually put a little bit of a gap. That's the biggest gap we've seen between these guys in a while, so that could be interesting to watch. Cart Dude's on his fast lap here, on his qualifying lap. We might actually go on board with him because you're going to see this car sliding all over the place.
Let's go on board with Cart Dude. That's right, our Tasmanian coming through here, this infield section. And how exciting has this been? And there's a few extra corners in here, Rob, from when they used to hold the F1 Grand Prix here from in the early 2000s. But anyway, here comes Cart Dude now, currently with a 121.374. Look at him going through the gears there, down into a second gear there as he comes around.
Missed the apex.
He's missed the apex. He's got it a little bit wrong there, but he can still gather it all up together. And as he comes onto the main straight now, look at the crowd chanting, Cart Dude, we love you. We love him up here and everybody loves him. Can he take pole position?
No.
No. And that is all she wrote in qualifying here at the Brickyard for the Indianapolis Project Cars 2 Season 3 Grand Prix. Mighty Murph there. Where's he on the list there? 6th place. And you'd feel pretty stiff, wouldn't you? 121.6, and it's only good enough for 6th on the grid. as that is the end of qualifying. Not quite for Jason there, Matt, but still down to 5th. My goodness me, 1/10 off pole position and you're in 5th. But have a look at that. Formula One Rocks, our champion-elect, with a 122.2 on pole position here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, ahead of sub-GT racer Kart Dude in 3rd, coming back this week. Truss in 4th. Jason Wilkinson ended up on the 3rd row of the grid. Pretty tough for him. Mighty Murph in 6th. HSV, those two together again. And they're not separated by much either, are they? V8 man down to 8th. Bubbles in 9th. Smokey rounding out the top 10. And then it is Andy Holden. Waffles and Bits. Righty. Nemo. Mickey in 15th. You're so fine. And then it's our cameraman bringing up the rear who failed to set a time. But I tell you what, it's been a long time since I've seen a qualifying session that close anywhere you go.
Yeah, that was certainly an exciting one, and I was just thinking, what is the race going to be like if everything's so tight like that? I was just looking through the sectors. Fallen Rocks was actually the slowest, one of the slower ones through the first sector, but he's making up so much time when it gets to the infield, so his car's definitely set up to handle corners at the moment, probably a little bit more downforce than everybody else, but this is going to be a heck of a drag race, and hopefully everybody gets a good start. But I think Sub GT got a little bit of a dodgy start last week, so hopefully he can improve his start line procedure there. But it's looking like a good one. And actually, Trev, I was thinking, if somebody finishes 6th tonight, can we call them Narang Catherine?
Oh yes, who could forget that famous Grand Prix? I reckon they were the only fans that were happy, Rob. Were a couple of Indian fans in the crowd that day for that infamous Grand Prix where half the field peeled off, or 3/4 of the field peeled off. Didn't bother me. I was a Minardi fan back in the day, so it suited me just fine. But we might be able to call that. At least we haven't seen. We've got 16 drivers on the grid tonight. Nobody's peeled off into the pit lane, so that's a good start. And I reckon 16 drivers here tonight. 16 drivers, 26 laps, 14 corners here. Look at that marshal up there. He's waving the flag. He wants to go, and so do we here for round 10 here tonight. Not too sure, Matt, whether we've got any Portuguese fans around. Who knows? We do have a wide reach on our live streams, Rob, but the tension, it kills me each and every week as those 16 drivers are staring down into turn 1. Here we go, ready to go racing here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 16 drivers, 26 laps ahead of us. It's lights out and away we go, and they all stream down to turn 1. Formula One Rocks maintains the lead. Mighty Murph loses a position off the start, but it all looks very clean and civilised so far. So far, so good for Formula One Rocks as Kart Dude slots into P2. Mighty Murph down to 8th. Righty, they're having a bit of a moment, and Nemo has made a couple of positions, I think. No, in fact, he hasn't. There's contact. There's a couple of cars around. It looks like HSV was one of the cars involved there, but it's Formula One Rocks, Kart Dude and Truss, your top 3. As Jason was the other man involved there. So he just decides, I don't want to take that corner, as he gets back onto the circuit. Down to 14th. And boy, he was a little bit hard done by in qualifying. He set a decent lap, but have a look at this, down to 14th. And he's got some work to do, Rob.
Yeah, he's got a bit of work to do, and that's unfortunate for Jason. We know how good he is, but I mean, every time he's had an incident like that, he had a couple during the first part of the season, he's always managed to claw his way through the field, so that could be exciting to watch. And Fubbles is the big winner here, up into 4th. I think he qualified around about 7th, so that's a good result for him so far. Truss in the 3rd, Harry and Kart Dude, and Kart Dude's looking at the back of that Ford there and thinking, that looks pretty tasty, and knowing Kart Dude, that's going to have a very low setup and low downforce setup, and that thing's ultra quick at a straight line anyway. So you can see Formula One Rocks, they're trying to break a little bit of the slipstream, trying to give himself a little bit of a chance in the first corner. Kart Dude is nowhere near close enough to be making a move at this point, but Formula One Rocks is going to have a bit of competition tonight, Trev.
He sure is. Kart Dude not giving him an inch. And boy, we apologise, Matt. Your man currently down in 12th, so he's made up a couple of places. As lap 2 out of 26 here at Indianapolis. It's going to be a long race. We might end in the dark here too, Rob, going off my race notes. But here we go. Formula One Rocks now has stretched that gap ever so slightly. Back to Kart Dude in 2nd. And then it's Truss ahead of Fubbles, 3 seconds now further down in fourth. But I've got, well, I tell you what, my cart dude senses are tingling. I've got a feeling that it's going to be one of those ding-dong battles between Formula One Rocks, cart dude, and Truss. Says, don't forget about me either. I'm here to play. So, boy, it's going to be intense. It was intense on lap 1, and I reckon it's going to be intense between these top 3 drivers right throughout the race. And, well, there's a few battles too going on further down the order. But I reckon we might just stick with this one as they come across the line then. So, into lap 3 then. It's Formula One Rocks, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, all in your picture, even more further back down the field. Truss, was he going to have a go at Cart Dude? I don't think he was going to get through there. As we ride on board now, Bonnet Cam, and Truss currently in P3. Don't forget, we've got our champion for Season 3, but there are other championship spots up for grabs here tonight, Rob.
Yeah, there's certainly championship spots up for grabs. You can probably tell that Cart Dude knows that. He's still in second. Jason, his closest rival at the moment for that second position in the championship, is down into 12th there, so that's not a great result for him so far. Had a little bit of contact on the first corner. When I say a little bit of contact, he got spun around. But Cart Dude, this is a good little position to be watching from, actually, because you can see where Cart Dude's trying to make up a little bit of time, and Fallen Rocks is using all the road as much as he can to get that little extra pace out of the car. But Fallen Rocks is... He pulled about 4/10 the last lap, and he's lost it on this lap. So you can see how much quicker that Corvette is. I was going to say, Trev, that it looked like Cart Dude was holding Truss up a little bit, but now he's just started to sprint away. So I think he just needs to be a little bit more comfortable, and I think maybe we might get a move on this at the end of this straight here.
Yes, so here we go. There's still there's nothing between them. Truss has dropped back a little bit there in P3. But I tell you what, don't forget to subscribe also to the Kid Buyers channel. Currently sitting on around 850-something subscribers. We need 1,000 subs, don't we, Rob? And a few more watch hours, but we'll take care of that. You take care of subscribing to our channel so we can start taking donations, and then I can quit my day job, and so can you, Rob. And we can live out our days on a private island in the Bahamas. I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself, but still, don't forget to subscribe. Lap 4 out of 26, Fubbles.
Well, would you look at this?
Well, my goodness gracious me, as soon as we've gone off this battle, it has got spicy, to quote our man Rob Dog. As Formula One Rocks, they're losing the lead to Cart Dude, and now Truss is all over him, Rob.
Yeah, it looks like that Ford's a little bit uncomfortable. You can see the rear end just wanting to step out, and Fallen Rocks had to get on top of that as quick as he can. But Truss looks like he's looking around the outside, looking up his backside there, which isn't very good. That's a bad colonoscopy you want coming from a Corvette. But yeah, Truss is all over Fallen Rocks, so that's interesting to see what happened there. So we're going to have to look at the replays later in the evening and to see what happened there. But that Corvette has the legs on the straight. He's going to be up behind that big rear wing of that Ford there and trying to get as much slipstream as he can. But Cart Dude sprinting away. He's made a second on Formula One Rocks at the moment, so this is great news for Cart Dude. That little R&R has done him some favours. And just looking through the field here, we've got Jason Wilkinson coming into the pit lane there, so he's trying to get out of some traffic there. Formula One Rocks is around.
Well, this is incredible. Formula One Rocks has gone around. He almost collects the other Corvette on the way back in. But we didn't see that coming. He's down to 6th place. And he is in one almighty battle. So, well, Sub GT, Fubbles, Truss, Mighty Murph have all passed Formula One Rocks. A few
Truss has actually gone down as well, actually, Trev. Just looking at the timing sheets there, Truss was second, and now he's 6 seconds off the lead. So Sub GT and Fubbles have been promoted into the last 2 podium positions. So that's great news for them, but I don't know what's happened there between he and Truss. I wasn't looking at the screen. I was too busy looking at the timing sheets, but that's my problem, not everybody else's. But having a look here, Waffles is getting pretty close to Smokey as well.
What the hell is going on here? Fubbles up to P3. I love Fubbles, I know, but he's just thinking, what in the bloody hell is going on? But Cart Dude, 5 seconds in the lead now, and now he doesn't have to worry about Truss or Formula One Rocks as Fubbles into the pit lane. And it's a very slow pit lane there. You can see his pit crew waiting for him. And a bit like, tell you what, it took me a while to work out the pit lane on this game. But anyway, never mind about that. And have a look at this. V8 man as well. And look at that, they're all slipstreaming each other. The battle for 9th, 10th and 11th is on between Womp, our cameraman. Get a good picture of that, son. V8 man in the top 10, hanging on to 1 championship point. And HSV in P11, and now they're side by side. There's contact between the two of them. HSV not giving up that position, going through on the inside. V8 man getting pushed a little bit wide, and it is very intense. There's so many battles going on at the moment, and this one's not over yet. And Womp, both V8 man and HSV breathing down his neck, and HSV, oh, he's pushed Womp wide, and that now gives Dane a chance. 3 wide going through that corner, and there's contact again. Wow, intense stuff, and all over the final points paying positions, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, that's how close this league is. Everybody's having a go at it, even in the last points paying positions, and that's what we like to see. And you can see V8 Man's really trying to get past HSV there. HSV's very Greg Murphy-esque when it comes to racing. He's going to put you in a position where you're going to have an accident. And yes, I'm still very salty about Bathurst 2005. Don't ask me, Trev. But it's looking like a very great race at the moment, and we're just looking through a timesheet. So Full On Rocks is making time on Trust here, so maybe he sort of had some issues with his car. Maybe put the brake bias a little bit more towards the front so he doesn't get any rear locking, but he's made his way up to 4th. That's better than he was in 6th. Maybe he got promoted due to a couple of pit stops, but that doesn't matter. He's got a little bit of clear air between he and Trust at the moment, so he can put in some lap times. And just having a look here, Sub GT is actually been biting into the lead of Car Dude, actually, around about maybe 2/10 a lap. So that's a good pace from a man, Sub GT, who's done an impeccable job last week, making good ground on Full On Rocks. And Full On Rocks had a little bit of an incident, but at the end of the day, Sub GT still won. But Full On Rocks, our championship elector, oh sorry, not elector, our championship elect, as looking like he's having a bit of trouble here. Truss is letting him by there. No use arguing. Maybe Truss got into the back of him. We don't know. So Truss is doing the right thing there and just letting him have it. But Truss is all over the back of him now, saying, "Right, I've given you a position back. I'm on your keister. I'm going to have a look going down the outside here. Might try and get on the brakes a little bit later than you can." And wow, he really has. Full On Rocks doing the right move there. Just moving off to the left a little bit, closing that gap up so Trust doesn't have many options, and getting through there. So Full On Rocks back up in the 3rd.
How good is this? Well worth getting up for it, Matt, I'm sure. 3 wide on the infield. It is bloody worth getting up for. Great to have your company and everybody watching the stream. Connor and Rick, get amongst it, boys. Start bloody commenting. We want to get your comments in. Oh, look at this. Formula One Rocks then in 3rd position. Truss, he's got past Truss. He dropped down to 6 after that little spin he had. He had a bit of a moment a couple of laps ago. But, boy, Sub GT, he's keeping Cart Dude honest as well. They're a 122.3 last time around compared to Cart Dude's 123.5. So don't go to bed yet. It is not all over. Just stick around and watch this one. And what's Andy doing now? P10 for him. And Jason currently down in 14th as well after that pit stop, as HSV also into the pits. Nemo rounding out the top 16 here in this race tonight. Lap 9 now. Cart Dude leads Sub GT. And I'll just pull you up on that, Rob, the 2005 Bathurst 1000. Who could forget Greg Murphy and Marcus Ambrose colliding at the cutting with 16 laps to go? And Greg was pretty pissed off, eh? Oh, yes, that's right. I'm a bit weird like that. I remember motorsport stuff because it is just the best sport in the world, isn't it? And yes, Connor, we might get to Martin Brundle a little bit later. But lap 9 out of 26. It's getting very spicy, Rob.
Yeah, it's getting very spicy, and don't get me started on Bathurst 2004 where Marcus Ambrose had to come into the pit lane and serve a penalty because he wasn't wearing a balaclava underneath his helmet. I'm still pissed off about that too. But this is looking like a very spicy race, as I always like to say. I don't know why I always say spicy, but it's looking like a very spicy quesadilla indeed. And Andy Holden just had a little moment about a lap and a half ago. Chasing Womp. He's still making time, but he went onto the grass, so that's not great for his tyre life there. It's going to be a little bit more dirty, a little bit more slippy on the concrete there. It's not asphalt, it's definitely concrete. And Sub GT's dropping back to from Car Dude now and into the clutches of Formula 1 Rocks. So Formula 1 Rocks is looking very good. Truss, he's trying to keep up with Formula 1 Rocks, but that Ford is very, very pointy, getting into the corners very early. Trying to get that power down as early as he can, but he's seemed to be having a couple of troubles with that within the first couple of laps. So I think everything's better now. Probably the tyres have gone up to pressure where he likes them to be. And looking through the field here, Waffles is having a look at Smokey. Smokey putting in some good times, very competitive, but Waffles, our winner of Spa this season, is never one to be discounted. Of course, he was actually the Ford for that race. They've gone to Ferraris now, he and Andy Holden. So that's something to watch out for. Little different characteristics. The Ferrari is very, very stable. Very, what's the word? Very understeery going into corners. The Ford is kind of the same, but it gets into the corners a lot easier than that Ferrari, and a little bit more horsepower from those twin turbos. And Formula 1 Rocks is making big inroads into the lead now. Actually, he's about 5 seconds off the lead now, just got into the 5, so that's good news for him. He's still got a lot of pacer coming out of that car, and you can probably tell that we're looking forward to the pit stops. We saw HSV actually have one just a couple of laps ago, so Jason likes us to keep up to date with who's gone as the pit stops and who hasn't. And yeah, Sub GT dropping back, but this lap's pretty stable for him. He hasn't lost much time, he hasn't gained much time, so this has been a very consistent lap for him so far, Trev.
Steady as she goes. I can just imagine what's going through Jono's mind at the moment. Jono, do you think you can win this race? Yes. Yes, man, a few words, as we all know, for our long-term viewers here on this channel. But he likes to get that talking done on the track, and he would not have been happy with that at all. And, well, Connor, a day late and $1 short on that one, Crofty. Yeah, a little bit of Martin Brundle there for you. Thanks very much for watching. But speaking of pit stops, I heard you mention pit stops a moment ago. We are approaching half the race distance. 11 out of 26 laps gone in this race. Expect those tyres to be heavily worn. We're expecting tyre changes here, Rob. The soft tyres can go off the boil a little bit, but the pit stop for no tyre change, 50 to 55 seconds according to my information here. And if you change the tyres, you're looking at about 65 to 70 seconds. That seems like quite a long time for a pit stop, given a lap is only 1 minute 22. But that front left gets worn very, very much on this track. So when are we going to see some pit stops? Speaking of pit stops, Ridey is in the pits currently. We've seen HSV as well come in. But there he goes, Ridey into the pits and then out again. But, well, the gaps maintain pretty steady so far. The field spreading out a little bit as we approach half the race distance here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Round 10 of SRL Project Cars 2, season number 3. Connor says, brilliant, mate. You're too nice, Connor. Truly the entertainer. Yes, but if you want to get involved, Rob, like we always say, www.supremeracingleague.com.au. Get amongst it. We've got a full Tier 1, also Tier 2, and I reckon that we'll be seeing those Tier 2 race results coming through very, very shortly, I'm sure, with thanks to our man Sprint Cars 6. Big thank you to you. And, well, we'll get Jono into the party a little bit later, Connor, but this race still not over yet. 5.5 seconds now, and he's catching Sub GT at a vast rate of knots, isn't he, Rob? I reckon he's going to have him right up his ginger before the end of this lap even.
Oh, yeah, I think it might be a little bit too early now. That Ford does suffer with a little bit of understeer when it gets into the wake of other cars, but certainly Formula 1 Rocks is putting in the pace and putting in the performances. We know how really good this guy is. He's absolutely a weapon behind the wheel. He's probably an AR-15, and at this moment Sub GT is looking like a school. There we go. There's a offensive American joke. We can tick that one off for tonight. And I think we're probably going to get banned for that one as well, Trev. But having a look through the field here, Waffles is going after Smokey's P6. He's Narain Kathrakine Award, the most successful Indian driver, might I add, in a 6-car race. So that's good news for Waffles and Bits there at the moment, looking for that Narain Kathrakine award. But at the moment, the only spicy battle that's coming up is this one, Trev, and he's all over the back of Sub GT. Sub GT on the inside, doing the old Max Verstappen, blocking him there. Fully legal, of course. Going through the S's here, looking very, very tidy. That Ford is getting to the corners a lot more easier than the Corvette there, might I say. And we've got to go on to the rookie here. Is all over the ginger of Sub GT. Sub GT can only hold out for so long until this great man will overtake him. He's looking down the inside. Sub GT covers. Very good move from Sub GT. Give him a little bit, give him something to worry about there. Sub GT's not going to let this go lightly. Formula Rocks going for the early braking, an early entry to get that horsepower down onto the circuit, looking for an opportunity, but the Ford's a little bit slower than the Corvette in a straight line, but I don't think that's going to worry Formula Rocks too much. He's going to try and make it up all under braking. We know how good this Ford is under the braking, Trev.
Certainly is. Truss and Mighty Murph into the pits, but it's all about this battle at the moment. And well, Sodi Motorsport first and second. And don't forget, well, are there going to be some team orders here? Kart Dude might just be on the radio to Sub GT saying, yeah, don't let him by anytime soon. Because Kart Dude's still about 5 seconds, 4.9 now down the road in the lead. And Formula One Rocks, they're still in hot pursuit of Sub GT Racer, who picked up the win last week, of course, to go with 2 second places and a third this season. And he's had a pretty good season, probably not entirely happy with his year, but currently still sitting in 6th place in the championship. We missed our call, didn't we, Rob, about half the race being gone, half still to go. And yep, we missed it.
We haven't missed it yet, mate.
Oh, I tell you what, we haven't, have we? So we've just popped it in there,
no.
or have we? Lap 30.
No, we have missed it by a lap. Oh, Formula Rocks is into the pits. This is a very interesting strategy for Formula Rocks here. He's trying to get the undercut on Sub GT and Kart Dude. Kart Dude's still going to be pumping out those quick laps, and Sub GT's been a very good wingman, dare I say, for Kart Dude there, just keeping Formula Rocks behind for a good amount of time, and Sub GT actually hasn't lost that much time off the lead, so that's great news for he and Kart Dude at the moment. Is looking like a 1-2 for Sodi Motorsport at the moment. Can never talk too early though, Trev. We don't want to put the commentator's curse on everybody else, but that is a very insanely long pit lane. When we did IndyCars here last week, if you took a pit stop, you were almost being lapped by the end of the you come out of the pit lane. So it's a very, very long pit lane, very annoying having to slow down for blue flags, to be honest. But that's not my problem tonight. That's these boys' problem. And we're just having a look through here. Jason's got himself up into 9th. Truss has had a pit stop, so Truss is going to be looking to get some pace and catch up to the back of Jason Wilkinson there. The man's into the pit lane, so is Waffles. Mickey SR is also into the pit lane. So Formula Rocks going down to the 7th. Jason's going to be passing him here. Be interesting to see where Formula Rocks actually comes out. Actually, Formula Rocks is about to hit that pit limiter and give it all the beans it's got.
Well, has Jason pulled off a masterstroke of strategy? You mentioned that pit lane. It is awfully long here, isn't it? It's almost a minute or so if you change tyres, about 55 seconds if you don't. But all Jason. Hello there, Wilco. Matt, your man is back. He is back in town. That's right. He made that early pit stop, and it's looking like it is absolutely a genius move from Jason Wilkinson. He is up into P7 all over the back of Waffles. And, well, he might be through here. And yes, he is up to P6, but of course that's going to give Waffles the inside line for the next corner. But Jason just hanging in there, going around the outside. Unbelievable stuff. And now Jace up into P6th and just 6 seconds off of Fubbles, who's back in town now. Smokey and Andy in the pits as well, Rob. So those two boys are going to be well and truly out of the way by the end of this lap.
Yeah, certainly, and I could see Jason there doing the same as Kato, taking some liberties there when it comes to the curbing, just going over the top of it. Very interesting to do that though, because you do actually end up with a little bit of suspension damage if you keep doing that. Did a Le Mans race had a very stiff setup for a Bentley and ended up having to do a pit stop because of broken suspension. So interesting to see that boys are really pushing it that hard at the moment, and Formula One Rocks has actually gotten past with Jason Wilkinson past Waffles there, so Jason's not going to give up the lead not his lead, but fourth position to easily, I hope. Formula Rocks is still being very mega. It's interesting to know if they changed tyres at the moment. If I was them, I probably wouldn't have, because it would have been a longer pit stop, and I want to get back on that circuit as quick as I can. Sub GT has actually gone to the pit lane himself now, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out, and it'll be a good marker for Car Dude as well to think about maybe taking that pit stop. And you can see Formula Rocks just trying to get that car in there, just missed the apex and the rear end sliding about a bit. There's a little bit of rear locking when he's braking, so that car is still a little bit dodgy in race pace. We know how good these Fords are actually in the race pace, because they've taken pretty much all the races apart from one this year. So that car is actually a little bit of a handful to drive at the moment, just looking at it going around. I can see here Trev's dog going off in the background, but that's all right. Formula Rocks making moves, and
sorry about that. Carry on.
No, you're right, mate. Formula Rocks is doing a good job here. Formula Rocks getting a position on Sub GT there at the moment. Sub GT at the end of the pit lane. Formula Rocks got all the speed on the straight here. Sub GT's just going to come out in front of him, I believe, but Sub GT's also going to have colder tyres, and he's made a move on that back marker there. So Sub GT just in front of Formula One Rocks. So this is a good idea for Cartu to think about where he's going to come out in relativity to everybody else. Is he going to take new tyres? Is he just going to leave the old tyres on? So that's going to be interesting to watch and see what happens. Formula One Rocks, he's about the timing sheets haven't updated here fully at the moment, so I'm going to say he's about 2 seconds behind Sub GT at the moment, so he's still got a little bit of ground to make up. So he did definitely get impeded by a little bit of traffic there. Jason Wilkinson certainly making moves up in the 5th position. That's not going to be good enough to beat Brody in the in the points at the moment, so it's going to have to go to Bathurst to find out who's going to be 2nd and 3rd in the championship. And yeah, it's looking like a very, very spicy race, Trev.
9 laps to go until the end of this one. Big Shep says, come on, Jace, 4 points between 2nd and 3rd. I am rooting for you, LOL. Matt says it's going to be tight between Fubbles and Cart Dude. And, well, fantastic stuff. Apologies for my pooches, but everyone is excited, and so should you be too. I just escaped death, for anyone who wants to know, in this commentary box. A framed picture just fell off the wall, if you're wondering what that sound was. But I am okay, and I will be able to commentate the end of this race. But anyway, here comes Jason now. Could it be a master stroke? P5, just 50 seconds or so off the lead of this race. 8 laps to go now until the end of this one. And Cart Dude is into the pits. That's right. Here he is for Sodi Motorsport. Did he change his tyres? I didn't get a chance to see. We switched back to that one pretty late. But, wow, 16 people now watching this stream. It is all happening at the moment, Rob. But Sub GT can't do it. It's a long pit stop here. Where is he going to feed out? Connor says, come on, Cart. Can he maintain that lead as Sub GT and Formula One Rocks? Wow, they've been in it a fair bit this race for the first 18 laps, and I reckon the last 8 or so are going to be just as bad as this is going to be, because let me tell you, he is not going to give him 1 inch of room. He's not going to give him a free run in that Corvette, that's for sure. And he is just saying, you're in America now, son. This is how we do things. And who is going to be spraying the milk at the end of this one? Cart Dude still looking pretty good. But, well, who knows? Here we go, Rob.
Yeah, it's looking like a very spicy one. Just saying, Cart Dude is 13 seconds away from the field, so he's not done a tyre stop. Sub GT on the inside of Formula One Rocks here. Sub GT holding his line. Formula One Rocks is away. Just got around him there. So Formula One Rocks is on his way to try and make up some time between he and Cart Dude there. But I got to say that Cart Dude, if he's got old tyres on, he's got to keep it nice and straight from now on, because those tyres do go off pretty quick, as I learned Sunday. When we did a LMP2 race, that the old tyres don't last as good as I like to think they do. So it's going to be interesting here. And Sub GT still not letting him go. He's giving him as much as harassment as he can, getting big in Formula Rocks' mirrors there, just filling it up. saying, hey, I'm still here, I'm going to make sure you're going to try and force you into a mistake, try and get past you any way I can. If I can't do that, I'm going to help my mate out as much as I can. And Foreman Rock still has 16 seconds to pull back here, and he's only got 7 laps to do it, so can't do it. He's maybe done a masterstroke here, Trev.
Well, Formula One Rocks is, well, for a man who's only finished off the podium twice this season, that's right. He's got 6 victories, 3 second places to his name. So 16 and a half seconds, 6 laps to go. Even the great Jono, it's going to be a mighty, mighty battle to get up the front and win this race. Speaking of winning, Shep says, pedal to the metal, Jason. Remember, rubbing is okay. Yes, thank you, Shep, for those comments. But and we've got a big announcement too, Rob, on the stream tonight. My man Ned is officially the Tier 2 champion. So we've got Jono, Formula One Rocks, the Tier 1 champion, and Ned Flanders is the Tier 2 champion for SRL Project Cars 2. Oakley dokley. And was that our man off again, was it, Rob?
Yeah, it was our man Jason, and Smokey's going to get a position here. No, he isn't, sorry. I'm just having a look. There was a green car there, but Smokey has just seen that Jason's had it off there, and Jason's going to be having a little bit of trouble trying to get those tyres back up there to normal racing temp. When you have a spin, they tend to heat up a little bit, so that's going to be a bit of a fun one for a couple of laps. And what happened in the background there? Just saw 2 cars start off and back onto the circuit. This game is terrible when it comes to netcode, but Smokey, even though he's looking a little bit like he has epilepsy, still making ground on Jason, so Jason's got something to worry about there. Waffles, he's only about a second away from Truss here, so Truss has something to worry about here. Waffles is very, very quick, very tenacious when he's racing, so that's going to be a hard one for Truss to hold off. But for One Rocks, he's just not making enough pace to catch up the Kart Dude at the moment, so Kart Dude's going to have a good points margin to he and Jason at the end of this race, Trev.
It certainly is. Boy, I've got messages coming in from everywhere saying watch the battle for 6th, 7th, 8th, 5th. They're all very, very close in that midfield. Just 5 laps to go until the end of this one. Haven't got too many jokes in the way of the American style tonight, Rob. Someone saying Fortnite is a little bit like America. At one time it was free, good and free. Now it's neither. Oh, okay. I'm not sure about that one. We might just skip the Bill Clinton jokes. I might leave that one for you a little bit later on in the post-race, Rob. But here comes Truss. What can he do? Currently in P5, struggling to keep Waffles off in P6. And that battle 6th, 7th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th all together. V8 man a little bit further back down the road. Andy in P10, just recapping our full results on the tables. Womp in P11 outside of the points. Mickey, not so fine that you blow my mind in P12. Kiwis and Kangaroos Racing says, cheers lads, and it's not Flanders. Oh, okay, it's not Ned Flanders. Well, we're done for. We're done diddly done for. And, yep, time to get ahead on those tax returns, Nettie. I think I've started something, Rob, that I can't finish. But speaking of finishing, just 4 laps to go until the end of this one. And I tell you what, Fubbles, just 11 seconds now, that gap. But look at this, 6th, 7th and 8th, as we've got Fubbles there. He is, I tell you what, I don't know whether Kart Dude's easing off and just going easy on the tyres, or whether that gap is coming down. It's almost dropping by a second or so every sector. Oh, that's a bit exaggerated there, Rob, but it's down to 10 seconds. Kart Dude not home yet.
Kart Dude not home yet, but if he loses a second a lap, he's still going to be the winner at the end of this race, so he might have stuffed tyres, but that man knows how to steer a car. He is a professional karter, and karter in Tasmania, which is a little bit of a unfair advantage, considering that Tasmanians have 2 heads, so he can do double the thinking power that we can, Trev, and that's a bit unfair, I think. But looking through the field here, Truss holding off Waffles at the moment. Waffles trying to get as much time on Truss at the moment. Truss actually put another second in between he and Waffles, so Truss is pretty happy in 5th at the moment, but Waffles looks like he's going to be getting the Narang Catherine Award at the end of this race. And just a huge congratulations to Ned taking out Tier 2 this season. That was an extremely hard league. Every time we get the results through, it's always a different race winner. So that was an extremely hard one to win. So well done to Ned. And we're having a look here. Fubbles still, he is making time on Cartoon, but Cartoon's looking pretty comfortable at the moment, even though his tyres are knackered.
Yes, and wow, I think that is Ned, is it, for Kiwis and Kangaroo Racing? Is that actually Ned? He says, Tier 1 Porsche Cameo for Bathurst, perhaps. All right, just calm down. He's just taken out Tier 2 now. He just wants a little bit of Tier 1 action for the season finale. These spots are quite valuable, but who knows? You keep putting in the results and you'll get there. But speaking about the Narain Carter-Kayan Award, I think they used to call Narain the world's slowest Indian, Rob, instead of the world's fastest Indian. Just another reference to New Zealand there. Anyway, big hello to Bert Munro if you're watching, wherever he is. But anyway, poor old Bert, no longer with us, I'm sure. But lap 23 out of 26, Waffles and Bits, the battle in the midfield for the minor points placings. Yes, Ned, thank you. Great to have you with us, and congratulations again tonight. You'll be cracking out the champagne, but will Can't Dude be having a drink with you? Who will be, well, not champagne, they might be drinking milk, of course. We are at the Brickyard here in Indianapolis. As well, there's still that battle then. Second place up for grabs, fifth place up for grabs as well. Formula One Rocks, it'll be interesting to see what kind of penalties that he's going to be, he's got there. He's got a red mark next to his name. All sub GT now, up into P3, I should say. So we're counting down now. We're going to almost finish in the dark here at Indianapolis. And Ned's nice enough to say, how's your LMP2 going? Just getting a little bit ahead of himself there, Rob. I'm not sure whether he's taking the mickey or not. But, well, interesting stuff. But the battle is here. 10 seconds of the gap now to Cart Dude. Formula One Rocks then P4. Couple of seconds behind Sub GT. So he's dropping back. Could be a double podium finish for Sodi Motorsport. And, well, I tell you what. We've had another absolute thrilling race here tonight. It was quiet in the little middle section there, Rob. But we always see plenty of action in the later parts of these races, don't we?
Yeah, we always see a little bit of action, and this is a little bit of action that's going to be happening here. Jason's gotten past Smokey, so Smokey's struggling to keep up to Waffles. Jason's looking to get the Narain Carter-Kayan Award tonight. And I was just thinking, last time I sprayed milk about, I think you resemble this comment, Trev. We ended up with children, so we don't... Oh, my Lord, Smokey's absolutely banished Jason Wilkinson there, so... Geez, I think Waffles will be pretty safe with that at the moment. For Fubbles, up in a second, always said he's a bit of a dark horse, just getting those little results through, and he's very, very good, this man, especially on a controller. Imagine what he could do with a wheel. He's actually putting faster laps in than Cart Dude at the moment, but it's gone back to 10 seconds a lap, so Cart Dude's still putting in the pace. Probably just dropped off a couple of seconds for a couple of laps there to look after the tyres, make sure everything's good to go for the last lap, and I don't think he's going to have to be doing too much fighting.
No, Matt and Shep are not too happy. Matt saying, go and get Waffles. Rubbing is racing. Don't forget to kiss the bricks, says Big Shep. But your man in P7 now, 3 seconds or so behind Waffles. And I don't reckon he's going to be able to do it unless Waffles runs into some trouble before the end of this race. Still a pretty good effort nonetheless to get up to P7. I reckon you might be jinxing him too, Matt, like you said. But anyway, penultimate lap of this race. And it's Cart Dude in P1, Sub GT in P3. But can Fubbles hold on to P2 as they go past some traffic there? That might be Womp, is it? I think off to the left, but never mind about that. It's all about this final lap of the race. And he's through. Sub GT gets the move done at turn 1 and goes up into second place on the last lap of this race. Can Fubbles, with his L2R2 pad hacks, get back in front of him? I'm not too sure. He seems to be dropping an awful way back. He's going to have to stay mighty close if he's going to have a go in the infield or the latter stages of this lap. But it's still Cart Dude sitting pretty out in front. But the battle for the podium is not over yet, Rob.
Yeah, it's not over yet. Bubbles is there's a bit of gap between he and Foreman Rocks. All he has to do is keep it clean for this lap. Bubbles still doing a very good job. Third's nothing to be smeared at. That's a good result for him. Sub GT with a fantastic overtake into the first corner there, just on the inside, really late on the brakes, making Bubbles really having to stop his car there. So it's a great move from Sub GT, and I do believe this will be the first 1-2 this season for any team. Trev.
It certainly is. Here he comes. He had holidays last week. He's back this week, and he takes his second victory of SRL Season 3. And Sub GT comes across the line to complete a 1-2 for Sodi Motorsport. And Fubbles rounds out the podium, finishes in P3. He knocked off a cone or two afterwards, and the donuts have started for Kart Dude already. Have a look at this. The Sodi Motorsport boys will be spraying milk all over each other tonight. Oh, we don't want a repair bill for the boys in the pit lane. They'll all be half cut already. And yes, I can relate to that joke about spraying milk everywhere. That's me at about 3 a.m. every morning, attending to my 8-month-old baby. But anyway, enough about my personal life, because Womp is down in P11. And I think he might have been that traffic we saw a little bit earlier on, just getting some airtime for the sponsors. But the final results: Kart Dude in P1, coming back from holidays to win here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway ahead of Sub GT, the first 1-2 this season for any team, and Sodi Motorsport getting the job done. Then it was Fubbles who lost P2 on the final lap of this race, Trust slotting into P4. Formula One Rocks in P5, then Waffles in P6, Smokey in P7, who had some incidents of his own. Jason in P8, V8 Man in P9, disappointing for him. Mickey, you're so fine, you've got a point, and you do blow my mind in 10th. Then it's Womp in 11th, Mighty Murph retiring along with HSV, those two together again, they're inseparable. And that rounds out our finishes for the race tonight. But it's Kart Dude getting his second win of the season, Rob. It was close in qualifying, not quite as close in the race, but it was still exciting nonetheless.
Yeah, that was a good race to watch, and it's great to see that we finally got a 1-2 for a team this season. Fubbles running out the top 3, and it's good to see that the seems like the Corvette boys have actually come on a little bit late when it came to the race pace, but they finally found it. And Corvette, I think, has taken the last 3 races this season, so the Ford boys have something to worry about there when it comes to Bathurst, especially with those Corvettes so quick on a single lap going around Bathurst. That's going to be fun to watch, I think. And Truss there with the 4th position, that's going to be great for his points tally. But Kart Dude, I think he's almost sealed it for a good second position there behind Foreman Rocks.
Well, Kart Dude, I think you've joined the party, mate. Are you there? Can you hear us?
Hey, buddy, how you going?
Oh, mate, just in career best form, a little bit like yourself. Now, first of all, I got 3 questions for you. You need to answer me these questions 3. First of all, tell us about your win tonight, mate. Second win of the season. Second of all, where on earth did you holiday to last week? Because you came out up and about this week. And third of all, first 1-2 for Sodi Motorsport. Where is the party, and are we invited?
The party, maybe to answer 2 of the questions at once, we should have the party where I was on holiday last week in York Cove in Tassie. It's a nice resort, actually. And when you get to your hotel, there's jazz music. I don't know if you like jazz music, Trev, but it must work listening to it, because I never turned it off, and I got the result tonight.
Absolutely brilliant, mate. Your second win of the season. And I might just ask you the question, mate. There was 4 points between yourself and Jason Wilkinson coming into tonight. So that points gap leading into the final round as well has stretched out. So are you looking to have P2 sewn up as well heading into Bathurst next week?
Would it be more than 25 now? I don't know. We're on holidays for uni, so I don't do math either. But I was a little worried after I pitted, actually, because I wasn't too sure if maybe I'd flat spotted a tyre or my force feedback had glitched. I had this awful death rattle in the wheel as soon as I pitted. So, but I had a big enough lead to kind of not worry about it, luckily. So it just went my way for a change.
Fantastic stuff, Kart Dude. Rob, did you have any questions for the great man?
Yeah, no, Cardi, that looked like I'm going to dare say that was a bit of a spicy race at the start of the race there. But yes, you seem to have it all controlled during the midsection, last section there. So did you come into for tyres, or because you seemed to really have a gap when you came out from the pit stop? So I think that might have been a good decision if you didn't change.
Yeah, I didn't change because I seen that Formula One Rocks had a 10-second penalty, and I wasn't too sure where everyone else was going to rejoin because I noticed Bubbles came out ahead of everyone. I'm like, I probably can't change tyres now, but it worked out. So, but they were gone. They were shocking to drive on the last 10 laps, or I had a glitch, or who knows. But.
Well, Cart Dude, mate, you had control of that one, mate. Congratulations. And to answer your question, my good man, we do love the blues. Or was it jazz or blues? I can't remember. But my car dude, yeah. Can't get enough of your love, baby. Yeah. Anyway, car dude, congratulations and all the best. The holiday's done you the world of good, my friend, and can't wait to see you in Bathurst next week. Car dude, thanks for joining us.
I feel audibly molested there.
As the boys, Rob, just recovering there. Go and wash your ears out, son. Sub GT has been good enough to join us, mate. Talk us through your race. You came off the win last week, your first of the season, but talk us through that last lap, mate, and your race overall. It looked pretty intense there at different stages.
It was. The car was getting very, very squirrely. Bubbles, I apologise. That was a massive lock-up. Thank you for, whatever. I do apologise, mate. It was a big one. But you raced well, buddy. I enjoyed it. It was just tough going with that vet. It was loose, squirrely, but I just sort of tried to keep it as clean as possible. I got a terrible start, but it finished okay, I think. So that's about it, boys.
Well, fantastic stuff, mate. And, it was not a bad race overall. I guess there was a bit of action earlier on at the start, mate. But just looking as well at your championship situation there, mate, you're not too far off Waffles and Bits. So you could still be on for P5 in the championship. But heading into the final round next week, mate, just having a look at your season overall. 1 win so far. You've got 3 second places and a third as well, matey. Overall, are you feeling happy with the season so far?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I had a dropout, lost connection in one race, and I think I've missed maybe 2. So I think possibly a chance for top 4 if I was in every race. But yeah, no, I'm completely happy with how I've gone.
Good stuff, mate. Yeah. Well, congratulations, Rob. Any questions for Sub?
I was just going to say congratulations to Card Dude and Sub GT, the first 1-2 from any team this season, so that's a good result for Sodium Motorsport, and I think you might be looking pretty handy for a good second position in the Constructors too, boys.
Yeah, nice cut. Well done, dude.
I am actually trying to do the points right now for you boys, but my phone is... shit, maybe my phone should go on holiday too. But I did take it with me.
I think we all might need to go on holiday if I launch into the Barry White sort of stuff again on the vocal side of things. But Sub GT, awesome result again for you tonight. First last week, second this week, and who knows, 1 round to go. You could get another win next week. Congratulations, mate. We will see you next week.
Thank you very much, boys. Much appreciated.
Awesome. Cart Dude, Sub GT, that was our 1 and 2 men. But Fubbles, is he in the party at the minute, Rob, our favourite controller user? Is he in the party? I don't think we have Fubbles.
Yeah, he's here.
He's in the party. Always remember, allow your voice to be shared if you want to be heard on the post-race interviews. Fubs, have you got us? Come in over.
Yes, I do.
Now, mate, tell us, are you happy with third or are you a little bit peeved you didn't get second, mate? It looked like an intense last lap. Talk us through your race, brother.
Well, after an absolute catastrophe last week, getting a third is almost a win for me. Almost as good as a win after so many crap shoots and accidents. it's great to finally get a podium fair and square this time without having to depend on a steward's inquiry.
Yes, always good to win it fair and square, mate. Your second podium, like you mentioned, you did get another podium during the season, but that was decided in the stewards' room. So seventh in the championship for you, mate. 57 points, a few more after tonight. But what are you expecting next week in Bathurst, mate? You're not too bad around there. You're pretty handy on the controller. But what are you expecting next week?
I don't know what to expect because it's Bathurst. You
Well,
just don't know what that track can do. I've done well there. I think my best is fourth after missing out on third by the tiniest of margins in the GD3 season. But I feel very confident around Bathurst. I know the track very well. I want to get another third because I think a win's just too difficult for me. I just don't have the raw pace.
Well, I reckon you might be in with a fair chance. It is a crazy race. Anything can happen in Grand Prix racing or any racing, and it usually does. Bubbles, great to have your company. Thanks for joining us, mate. Congrats on the podium. All the best for next week. And just make sure, spare some time for me at the Grand Prix in March too, mate. I want to try and get a selfie with you if possible. But congratulations, mate, and we'll catch you next week at Mount Panorama.
Thank you.
Well done, Fubbles.
Yes, very humble indeed, Rob. 9:10 where I am in this part of the world. But let me tell you, we're almost out of time. But before we go, Rob, we've got the updated points through, which we just might go through. It's Formula One Rocks leading, of course, our championship elect on 184, ahead of Kart Dude on 143. And then it's Jason Wilkinson on 118. I won't trouble you with all the points down to 17th. But, still up for grabs, I think, that if my arithmetic is correct, Rob. But you never know. 1 week to go in Bathurst, and then it's all over for Season 3. Another season down in this fine championship.
Yeah, it's looking like a good one for Bathurst. I mean, gee, I might even want to have a go at Bathurst, I reckon, especially with the shootout qualifying. I love that circuit. I don't think I've had pretty good results around there myself, so I might even have a go, maybe get Jason into the commentary booth. But, gee, it's looking like oh, mate, you need somebody to compete with you, Cardi. That's what I'm thinking here, mate. I am the best. I'm the best. So,
I need to go. I need to go get a bank loan so I can have a holiday every round before every round works.
But yeah, it's good to see Kart Dude, Sub GT, and Fubbles get the 1, 2, 3 tonight. So it's good results for them, and also the Corvette boys. So the Corvette boys are looking pretty good for Bathurst. I don't know how many laps it is around Bathurst. Maybe an hour race. I'm not too sure. I'm not very up to date with these things. I should be, but I've got too much crap happening in my world. So it's looking like a very good one for Bathurst, and hopefully we'll have a good spicy shootout. And just to mention that we'll be doing an award ceremony during the shootout qualifying session, Trev.
Yes, it's going to be a huge week. Don't forget to join us. 24 laps it is, in fact, Rob, around Bathurst. Final round of the season. Final enduro round of the season as well. A live and exclusive from 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time from the 7th of February. Donald Trump wants to ban the sale of pre-shredded cheese. He wants to make America great again. That's right. That's what a way to finish, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you very much for your company, Rob, my co-commentator, everybody for watching the live stream, your comments, your support. We love you each and every week. Don't forget to subscribe to the Kid Buyers YouTube channel. The season finale is next week. If you want to get involved, all the w's.supremeracingleague.com. There's still time to sign up for season 4. It's been great to have your company. Be kind to one another, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.